Everybody wants to be the best version of themselves, but too many people try to skip the part of owning their story. They want to hide the broken pieces, pretend the pain never happened, act like the failures didn't exist. But here's the truth. You can't become your best self by ignoring your past. Every scar, every mistake, every disappointment has shaped you into who you are right now. And until you stop running from it and start embracing it, you'll always be operating below your potential. Owning your story means standing in front of the mirror and being real about where you came from, the decisions you made, and the battles you fought. It doesn't mean you're proud of every choice, but it does mean you've accepted that it all played a role in getting you here. See, the pain you went through wasn't there to break you. It was there to build you. Those nights you cried yourself to sleep, those moments you thought you weren't going to make it, those times when people doubted you or even walked away, all of that was preparation. You can't walk into greatness carrying shame and denial. You've got to walk into greatness carrying wisdom and strength. And that wisdom only comes when you own the story that gave it to you. Most people disqualify themselves because of their past. They say, I messed up too many times. I made too many wrong turns. I don't deserve another shot. But the reality is, the very things you think disqualify you are the same things that can qualify you to inspire, to lead, to rise. Because there's somebody else out there who's going through what you went through. And they're waiting to see somebody who made it out, somebody who turned pain into power. But they'll never see it if you keep pretending you never struggled. When you own your story, you take the pen back from life and you start writing the ending yourself. You stop letting your past dictate your future. You stop letting shame write your chapters. You stop letting people who gave up on you decide how far you can go. Owning your story means saying, yeah, that happened, but it doesn't define me. I define me. It means using every single lesson as fuel to push harder, to dig deeper, to climb higher. And that's where the best version of you lives. Not in perfection, but in truth. Not in hiding, but in embracing. Not in running from the past, but in building on it. Because once you truly own your story, nothing and no one can use it against you. It becomes your strength, your testimony, your foundation. So if you want to become the best version of yourself, stop running from your story. Own it, embrace it, and let it become the fuel that pushes you toward your greatness. Everybody loves the idea of being the best version of themselves, but the gap between where you are and where you want to be is always bridged by discipline. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how much potential you have. If you don't have discipline, you will always fall short of your true capability. Discipline is the thing that separates the dreamers from the doers, the starters from the finishers, the average from the great. Talent can get you noticed, but only discipline will keep you at the top. Discipline is doing what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has faded. Anybody can commit when they're excited. Anybody can show up when they're motivated. But the best version of you isn't built on emotion. It's built on habits. It's built on the choices you make every single day when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping, when nobody's checking in. That's where discipline shows up. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. See, motivation is like a spark. It ignites something in you. But discipline is the firewood that keeps the flame alive. Without it, the fire burns out fast. That's why so many people start strong and finish weak. They rely on emotion instead of commitment. The best version of you understands that feelings come and go, but discipline keeps you steady. When you're tired, discipline says keep going. When you're bored, discipline says stay locked in. When you're tempted to quit, discipline says remember why you started. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. In fact, most days it's repetitive. But greatness lives in repetition. The best athletes, the most successful leaders, the people who rise to the top in any field, they don't just show up once in a while and go hard. They show up every day doing the same things with precision over and over until mastery becomes natural. That's discipline. And that's what unlocks the best version of you. The truth is, you can't buy discipline. You can't borrow it from somebody else. You can't fake it. You have to build it within yourself, brick by brick, choice by choice. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're strengthening your discipline muscle. Every time you refuse to give in to distraction, you're reinforcing that foundation. And over time, those small decisions add up to something powerful. That's when you look in the mirror and realize you've become someone unstoppable, someone unshakable, someone who doesn't just chase greatness, but lives in it daily. So if you're serious about becoming the best version of yourself, stop waiting for motivation. Build discipline. Because discipline is the difference between almost becoming who you were meant to be and actually stepping into that version fully. You cannot become the best version of yourself if the people around you are pulling you backward. The truth is, the environment you live in will either limit you or lift you. Too many people are stuck not because they don't have the potential, not because they don't have the vision, but because they're surrounded by voices that drain their energy, people who settle for average, and environments that don't challenge them to rise. If you want to elevate your life, you've got to surround yourself with elevation. Think about it. Iron sharpens iron. You can't sharpen yourself against something dull. If you're always around people who make excuses, people who are comfortable staying the same, people who are content with mediocrity, eventually that energy rubs off on you. You start lowering your standards. You start believing their limitations. And before you know it, you've capped your own growth. But when you put yourself around people who are hungry, people who are pushing, people who demand more of themselves, it forces you to level up. You start thinking bigger, you start working harder, and you start realizing what's possible when you refuse to settle. Elevation is uncomfortable because being around people who are striving for greatness exposes where you've been slacking. It makes you confront the gaps in your own effort. But that's the point. You don't grow in comfort zones. You grow in environments that stretch you, that push you, that challenge you to stop making excuses and start producing results. And if that means you've got to distance yourself from some people you've always been around, so be it. Because the cost of staying stuck with the wrong crowd is far greater than the cost of letting them go. Sometimes it's not even about toxic people. Sometimes it's just about misalignment. You might love certain people, but if their vision doesn't match yours, if their pace doesn't match yours, if their hunger doesn't match yours, then staying tied to them will slow you down. You've got to make peace with the fact that not everyone can go with you to the next level. That doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you stop letting them influence the direction of your life. The best version of you needs the right environment. That might mean finding mentors who've already done what you're trying to do. That might mean building relationships with people who are on the same grind as you, who understand the sacrifices, who speak the same language of discipline and commitment. That might mean cutting off certain habits, places, or patterns that drain your focus. But once you surround yourself with elevation, you'll notice your mindset shift, your standards rise, and your results multiply. So if you truly want to become the best version of yourself, stop letting your environment limit you. Choose to surround yourself with people and places that push you higher, because the right circle will pull the best out of you. Pain is one of the greatest teachers you will ever have, but most people run from it instead of learning from it. They see pain as punishment, as something unfair, as something to avoid at all costs. But the truth is, pain has a purpose. Pain is the tool that life uses to prepare you for the next level. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to transform you. If you really think about the moments that shaped you the most, they weren't the easy times. They were the times you struggled, the times you cried, the times you thought you couldn't make it, but somehow you pushed through. That pain carved out strength inside of you that nothing else could have created. When you start to shift your mindset, you'll see pain differently. Instead of asking, why me? You start asking, what is this teaching me? Instead of resenting the struggle, you begin to recognize it as training. That heartbreak, that loss, that failure, that disappointment, it wasn't wasted. It was setting you up to handle bigger blessings, bigger responsibilities, bigger opportunities down the line. Because if you can't endure pain, you won't have the resilience to sustain success. Most people want to skip the struggle and jump straight to the victory. But you can't get the crown without carrying the cross. You can't get to the top without climbing through resistance. Pain is the gym where your character is built. Just like lifting heavy weights tears your muscles so they can grow back stronger. Life uses pain to tear you down in order to rebuild you with a strength you never knew you had. And when you finally look back, you'll realize that the very thing you thought would break, you actually became the reason you're unshakable today. Turning pain into power is about refusing to let your circumstances define you. You don't let failure label you as a failure. You don't let rejection convince you that you're unworthy. You don't let loss stop you from living. Instead, you use that pain as motivation, as fuel, as proof that you can survive the worst and still rise. When you tap into that mindset, nothing can stop you. Because once you've endured the fire, you no longer fear it. Once you've faced pain head on and transformed it into power, you realize there's nothing life can throw at you that you can't handle. So don't run from the pain. Don't hide from it. Don't despise it. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more relentless than ever before. Because the best version of you is waiting on the other side of your pain. Everybody loves to talk about greatness, but very few understand what it really takes to reach it. Greatness is not about one big moment. It's not about one highlight. It's not about one breakthrough. Greatness is built in the small, quiet, repetitive actions you do day after day. The best version of you is not created by occasional bursts of effort. It's created by relentless consistency. Anybody can go hard for a week. Anybody can get hyped and grind for a month. But what separates the best from the rest is the ability to show up over and over again, even when it's boring, even when it's tough, even when no one is clapping for you. Consistency is the secret ingredient most people overlook. They want results without the repetition. They want growth without the grind. But life doesn't work like that. If you want to master a skill, if you want to build a business, if you want to transform your body, your mind, your life, it comes down to what you're willing to do daily. Not once in a while, not only when you feel like it, every single day. That's the difference between people who dream about change and people who actually experience it. The truth is, consistency will test you more than intensity ever will. Intensity feels exciting in the moment. It's fueled by emotion, but consistency is fueled by commitment. It doesn't ask how you feel, it asks who you are. Are you someone who only shows up when it's convenient, or are you someone who shows up because you've decided this is who you are now? Consistency builds identity, and identity creates transformation. When you do something long enough, it stops being an act and starts being who you are. And the beautiful thing about consistency is that it compounds. One workout doesn't change your body, but 100 do. One day of discipline doesn't shift your life, but a year of discipline will make you unrecognizable. Every rep, every page, every hour, every sacrifice adds up. It doesn't always feel like progress in the moment, but over time, the results speak louder than anything else. That's why you can't get caught up in instant gratification. The best version of you requires delayed gratification, the patience to plant seeds and water them daily, even when you don't see the harvest right away. Consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You're going to miss days. You're going to slip up. But the key is to keep showing up, to keep pressing forward, to never let one failure turn into quitting. The people who win are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. So if you truly want to become the best version of yourself, stop chasing quick fixes and start committing to relentless consistency, because greatness is never built in a moment. It's built in a lifetime of showing up. Energy is one of the most valuable resources you have, and yet too many people give it away carelessly. You can have the biggest dreams, the clearest vision, the strongest plan, but if your energy is scattered, you'll never have the focus to make it happen. Protecting your energy means being intentional about where you place your time, your attention, and your effort. It means recognizing that not every conversation deserves your response. Not every invitation deserves your presence. And not every thought deserves space in your mind. The best version of you cannot emerge if you're constantly drained by distractions. Think about it. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy. If you spend it all worrying about things you can't control, entertaining negativity, or engaging with people who don't want the best for you, by the time it's time to work on your goals, you're empty. You can't pour into your future if you've already poured yourself out on things that don't matter. That's why you've got to guard your peace the same way you guard your money. Just like you wouldn't let someone reach into your wallet and take whatever they want. You can't let people reach into your life and steal your energy. Protecting your energy doesn't always mean cutting people off. It means setting boundaries. It means deciding who gets access to you and how much. It means recognizing the difference between people who push you forward and people who pull you back. And sometimes the toughest part is realizing that not everyone around you is meant to stay on the journey with you. Some people were only meant for a chapter of your story, not the whole book. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you love yourself enough to keep growing. And it's not just people. You've also got to cut out habits that drain you. Staying up all night scrolling, wasting hours on gossip, saying yes to everything just to please others. All of that costs you energy. The best version of you needs focus. It needs rest. It needs clarity. Protecting your energy means saying yes to the things that align with your purpose and no to the things that pull you away from it. When you start being intentional about your energy, you'll notice a shift. You'll have more clarity. You'll move with more confidence. You'll find yourself making progress faster because you're no longer scattered. You're focused. And once you get focused, once you learn how to channel your energy into what truly matters, nothing can stop you. So if you want to become the best version of yourself, protect your energy, because the power to transform your life depends on where you choose to direct it. Dreams are beautiful, visions are powerful, but without execution, they don't mean anything. The world is full of people with great ideas, full of people who talk about what they're going to do, full of people who promise themselves that one day they'll make a move. But the best version of you doesn't just dream, it executes. It takes that vision and turns it into action. It takes that plan and puts it into motion. It takes the idea that's been sitting in your mind and brings it to life in reality. The gap between who you are now and who you want to be is filled with action. You can't think your way to success. You can't wish your way to transformation. You've got to work. You've got to wake up every single day and do something that moves you closer to the vision. Even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't feel like it, execution is about doing it anyway. Because the truth is, your feelings will lie to you. Your feelings will tell you to quit. Your feelings will tell you to wait for the perfect time. But execution doesn't wait. Execution doesn't negotiate. Execution moves forward regardless. The best version of you is not the one who talks the most. It's the one who follows through. Anybody can talk about being disciplined, but are you actually waking up early and grinding? Anybody can talk about being focused, but are you cutting off distractions and locking in? Anybody can say they want success, but are you doing the hard, unglamorous work every single day? That's where execution separates the dreamers from the doers. And let's be clear, execution doesn't mean everything goes smoothly. You're going to fail. You're going to mess up. You're going to hit walls that make you question if it's even worth it. But execution isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. You keep moving, you keep building, you keep adjusting until the vision that was once in your head is standing right in front of you. That's how dreams become reality. Not through wishing, not through hoping, but through relentless execution. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need the perfect conditions. You just need to begin, and once you begin, you keep going until it's done. The best version of you isn't the one waiting for opportunities. It's the one creating them. It's the one who refuses to stop halfway. The one who refuses to leave things undone. The one who sees it through to the end, no matter how long it takes. So if you truly want to step into the best version of yourself, stop talking about it and start doing it. Because execution is the only thing that will turn your vision into reality.